Thank you for staying with us. Let's now welcome economist Oladipo Ajayi. Oladipo, thank you very much for joining us on the news.
Thank you very much, Felicity, for having me tonight.
The stabilization package is quite ambitious, and there are so many interventions. But which of these plans stands out for you?
Well, firstly, I think I would say that it's better late than never, because we've been seeing the monetary policy guys doing great jobs, and a lot of people have been calling out the fiscal policy guy. But I think they are finally now on the street to actually do something. And I think what actually stands out for me is the food security. Sincerely speaking, food stands more like the focal point as we speak currently in the country. And a lot of people have been going through a lot of issues as a result of increase in prices across board. We've seen inflation, food inflation rise above 40%. And this is not a very good one for the economy. And I'm very sure that it's a very great one that they're actually looking at that as one of the focus aside social welfare, energy, and health.
Businesses are hard-pressed already, but with government's plan to improve access to finance for the housing sector and MSMEs, as well as the manufacturing sector, what could be the ripple effect on the economy?
Yeah, the ripple effect of this is that it will provide more employment opportunity. And statistics have shown that basically SMEs and MSMEs are the basic, they are the real employer of labor. And so if they are actually the one that actually controlling the employment markets, it simply means that developing them or actually empowering them will actually create a lot of employment opportunities to the people. And earmarking about 650 billion for that development, I think is a very good one. It simply means that they understood the problem that's currently ravaging the country, and they understood that the best way to actually go about it is to actually empower people in form of businesses, so that business can be able to actually employ people, which in turn will actually improve and lead to economic growth.
Under the Energy Security Initiative, which includes power, oil and gas, the government aims to increase on-grid electricity to be delivered to homes and businesses from about 4.5 gigawatts to 6 in 6 months. They also propose to increase oil production to 2 million barrels per day within the next 12 months, as well as remove barriers to entry for investments into the sector to enhance competitiveness. This is a lot. Do you think this is maybe a little too ambitious?
I think this is tall order. It's actually a tall order, to be sincere, and actually improving power generation from about 4.5 gigawatts to 6,000 gigawatts. I think it's a tall order because when you compare where we are coming from to where we are going, I think it's actually a long journey, and actually now putting a timeline of 6 to 12 months. I think the timeline is too short. And but what the government is saying is that they are not actually talking about aggressively investing in that. What they mentioned is that creating an enabling environment so that businesses can actually invest in that, so as to actually attract foreign inflows and some foreign investment into that sector as well. And also, they also mentioned actually increasing oil production from current about 1.4 million barrels to about 2 million barrels per day. And I think that's also a very big one because if you look at where we were sometimes last year, at the point we're actually producing about 900,000 barrels per day. But now I think we are better off that we are around 1.4 million, 1.5 million barrels per day. So it simply means that on a daily basis, we are leaving about 500,000 barrel on the table. So if the government can actually ramp up investment into this sector, what this would do is that it will improve, it will create employment opportunity. It will also help the stability of Naira because it simply means that the government will be able to generate more FX inflow, which also will empower the central bank or give the central bank more cash flow to actually meet FX obligation of businesses that are looking to bring in raw material or machineries for their businesses.
Let's go a bit to agriculture and food security. The government plans to increase staple crops grown by smallholder farmers from 127 million metric tons in 2023 to 135 this year to bolster production by partnering with larger-scale commercial farmers and support qualified farmers with satellite imagery for land use planning and other agricultural expansion purposes. How can this be achieved and sustained?
I think that this is actually achievable because my concern around agriculture has been the quality of crops rather than some other factors, because the quality of crop of seed that farmers actually plant, most times they are not actually great quality. As a result, the output that we tend to actually get from at the time of harvest don't actually meet international standard, or may not actually bring a lot of yield that could be very, very positive for farmers. So if the government is stepping into this phase, that also means that government will actually provide seedlings. It also means that government will also provide technical expertise. It also means that government will actually retrain and retrain farmers in this regard. And also, they also mentioned around partnering with all other big scale farmers. By so doing, I think this thing is actually very much achievable. It also means that the government needs to be deliberate around this. And don't also forget, one of the key problems that's actually affecting farmers also comes from the angle of insecurity. It also means that the government also needs to look at the issue of securities for farmers. Farmers must be able to access their farms so easily. Farmers must be able to actually harvest, and also the government should also look at how to actually reduce the impact of global warming on farmers. We've seen a situation whereby flooding in the northern part of the country has been one of the great havoc.
I just deduced from you, Oladipo, that though it's an ambitious plan, it is possible to accomplish a lot. So let's see what happens in the coming days. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Yeah, thank you very much, Felicity, for having me on.